Car Obsession is proudly supported by Carly and Draggy. Check out the video description to find out the latest discount codes.
Hello guys, welcome back to Car Obsession and welcome to another walk around. This time I'm joined by the Hyundai Kona N. Now if you happen to be new to my channel, firstly, thank you for joining me. My name is Aaron, and secondly, my walk around videos are pretty much a static review of the car. Therefore, if you're looking for driving content that won't come in this video, but will come in future videos, so be sure to subscribe and to click the bell icon. The Kona N is pretty much an i30N, but wearing a Kona body with some sporty features for good measure. That means under the bonnet, you have the same 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol, which offers 280 horsepower, along with 392 newton meters of torque. If you prefer that in pound-feet, I will of course drop that caption below. But yes, there is the engine in all of its glory, bearing the N badge with pride, as well as a turbo motif. So yes, as I've mentioned, 280 horsepower and 392 newton meters of torque. This will hit 62 miles per hour in just 5.5 seconds, and the top speed is 149. Both of those stats are better compared to the Puma ST, but to be fair to the Puma, close that down like so. To be fair to the Puma, that has a smaller engine with less power, and it is less expensive. Speaking of which, how much does this car cost? Well, the Kona N has a starting price of £35,820, and the options, well, the only options you can pick are the colours. This particular car is finished in Sonic Blue, although it isn't really blue. It's kind of a grey blue, isn't it? Although in certain lights it almost looks not cream, but it is a light colour. That's what I'm trying to say. As you can see, it is contrasted with gunmetal grey alloys. These are 19 inches, wrapped around with Pirelli P0 tyres, and you've also got black door mirrors and satin black roof rails, along with, sorry, there's a bit of wind noise, I do apologise, along with a chunky rear spoiler, which is also finished in a gloss black. As well as that, you've also got red piping to really let you know that this is the sporty one. Compared to the Puma ST, which I had last year, I think the design of the Kona N is better proportioned, more cohesive, and I just think it's a tidier, smarter looking car. You've also got glossy black detailing on the front grille as well, along with a front badge which is finished in black to really give it that stealthy look. But of course you've got the N badge, yes, to remind you that this is the fast one. So as I've mentioned, this has a starting price of £35,820. To compare that to the Puma ST, that is roughly speaking £5,500 more, but this has got more power, and it comes with a lot as standard, not that the Puma ST doesn't. So what does come as standard? Well, you've got the LED lights, you've got the 19-inch alloys, keyless entry, the roof rails, rear tinted rear windows. At the back you've got more LED lights, you've got 2 chunky exhausts which look fabulous, and they sound even better. Where was I? Yes, the standard features. Keyless entry, in case I haven't mentioned that. Let me take you into the cabin, which is maybe a little bit sombre, a little bit bland, but I'll get onto that in a few moments. You've got a digital display, which you can see there, 10.25-inch touchscreen with DAB radio, navigation, smartphone connectivity, and Bluetooth. Front and rear electric windows, but that's pretty much standard. You know, you would expect that nowadays. You've got a Krell 8-speaker sound system with a subwoofer. Chunky front sport seats finished in leather and fabric. They are very nice indeed. Let me actually step inside the car. It's also got a head-up display, which you can't see because the car isn't turned on. You get heated and ventilated front seats, as well as, let me quickly show you, heated outer rear seats, which is very impressive for a car like this. That's something the Puma ST can't match. Although, to be fair, with the Puma ST you can get a powered tailgate as an option, whereas on the Kona N you can't, in case that is a big thing for you. Oh, the front seats are also electronically adjustable, where the driver's seat is. I must confess I've not checked the passenger seat because I've only had one passenger in there and they weren't in the car for very long. Oh, there we go. So yes, electronic function for the passenger seat as well. but as you can see, they don't get the lumbar adjustment, whereas the driver does. Let me turn on the ignition. You've also got climate control, wireless phone charging pad, front and rear parking sensors, and a reversing camera. So if I pop the car into reverse, hopefully you'll see. Now I need to turn the car on. Oh, that sounds fruity. So there we go. You've got the reversing camera, front and rear parking sensors, and the head-up display has now reared its head, so you can just see it just there. And now you've got a better view of the digital display. You've got a choice of driving modes, quite a few actually, arguably too many. So down here you have a little dial that's got drive and traction. Now within the drive section of the drive modes, you have a choice of 3. So just get that focused. So you have sport. Hopefully you can hear the exhaust note just changed then. Eco or normal. Go back in sport. You can hear the valves open up, very nice indeed. If I go into the traction mode, I've got snow, deep snow, mud and sand. It is worth mentioning this car is front wheel drive, so bearing in mind this is a fast car and it's front wheel drive, I'm not really too sure how much of an impact those modes will have, because I don't think many of you are going to be taking this car off-road, because, well, it's not really designed for it, is it? Although you do get hill descent control. You've got a button for it there. But yeah. Oh, sorry. Out of focus. But my point is, I don't really think you're going to be doing much off-roading or green laning in a car like this. I've forgotten something. What is it? Oh yeah, you also get the N driving mode. So you've got a button on the right-hand side of the steering wheel. Hit it and you get a new display as well as more performance. So you actually have 2 N modes. You've got the standard N mode where everything is dialed up to 11, including the ride, which is yeah, jiggly to say the least. What you want to do is to go into custom mode, and then you can go via the touchscreen. So if I zoom you guys out a little, zoom you guys out, not in. You can see on the left-hand side, left-hand side, you have N mode. Hit it, and it brings up a new menu. Lots of graphics, lots of parameters, and in here you can tailor. You can kind of make your N experience a bit more tailor-made. So what I do, and I think what the majority of people would do, is to have everything set to the maximum, but have the suspension set to normal. But if you really want, you can set it to Sport Plus if you really like being jostled about in your seat. But I would thoroughly recommend that you have it set to normal. Now, those eagle-eyed amongst you, you may have spotted that you have launch control to the right-hand side. So as much as you can get this to 62 miles per hour in 5.5 seconds, in order to achieve that, you will need to use this function down here. This red button is marked NGS. And that stands for N Grin Shift, which is a very cheesy name, but to put it into layman's terms, this will give you a 20-second overboost where you get a bit more power, and my word, you definitely notice when you've activated it. It's like setting off a missile. This car will propel you down the road as if there's no tomorrow. Yeah, this is a very, very quick car. Now let me turn the engine off, because I'm just spreading emissions for no reason. I'm sure Greta would not be happy with that. Just go back onto the interior. There's nothing particularly... I will turn on the ignition, that noise is very annoying. There's nothing particularly wrong with the interior per se. It's just a very bland affair. To be fair, the Puma ST isn't exactly much more characterful. Both cars are a little bit plain Jane, in my opinion. Yes, you do have some nice blue stitching to remind you that you're in an N model. Oh, one thing I haven't mentioned, this car only comes with an 8-speed DCT, unlike the i30M where you can have a 6-speed manual or the DCT. In the Kona N, you only have the DCT, and that is it. I'm a die-hard fan of manuals, but I have to admit this DCT is very, very impressive. So much so that it's very rare I drive this car and I think, you know what, I wish I had a manual. That's how impressive the 8-speed DCT is. But yeah, again, you've got some nice blue N specific touches down here as well. But other than that, the interior, yeah, it's a bit bland, if I'm going to be honest. Also, I would say, now the majority of it feels well made, it feels durable, but I would say the switches for the windows, they feel really cheap. Not a deal breaker, but it's just an observation. The rest of the cabin does feel quite well screwed together though, and I think it would prove to be durable. Now, in regard to practicality, the door bins are of a decent size. I can fit in this 750 milliliter bottle, like so. In fact, I reckon you can fit a 1 litre bottle if you really needed to. Let me just move a bit closer, and as you can see, you've got some space left over. Pop that back in here. In the middle, you have 2 cup holders, one of which is larger than the other. So this one here is a bit larger than that one, because if I were to move my coffee cup and to move that into there, it doesn't. Well, it does fit, but it needs a bit of it needs a bit of coaxing. Whereas in this one, as you can see, it slides in and it fits like a glove. You've got a wireless phone charging pad in the middle, which comes as standard. Although I must be honest, with my Galaxy S22 Ultra, the wireless charging doesn't work. I don't know if it's just my phone or perhaps this particular car, but I just thought I'd point it out. You do have a sunglasses holder, which is quite handy. Down here, you've got a centre armrest, which isn't adjustable, but it has a better build quality compared to the Puma ST I had last year, because if I were to do that in the Puma, the whole unit would move. Yeah, and it didn't exactly scream quality, but as you can see, much more robust in the Kona. And in here, you've got a bit of storage. As you can see, I've got a charging cable in there. And last but not least, you do get a glove box, which offers a fair size. It isn't massive, but I wouldn't say it is particularly small either. So practicality on the whole is pretty good. As I've mentioned, my driver's seat and indeed the front passenger seat are electronically adjustable. So from a driving perspective, getting a good, comfortable setup is very easy. And as you would expect, the steering wheel adjusts for rake and reach like so. You don't get a memory function for the driver's seat, which is perhaps a little bit disappointing, but the fact that I have electronically adjustable seats to begin with is pretty good, if you ask me. Anything else to go through the interior? No. Oh, actually, yes. This is a bit niche, a bit novelty. In 2022, I've got a brand new car with a manual handbrake. That isn't a complaint, if anything. I prefer manual handbrake because I'm old school, but yeah. How many new cars do you see nowadays that have an actual handbrake or a physical parking brake? Yeah, just seem a bit old hat. Let me turn off the ignition, and it's going to bong at me. There we go. To be fair, the ignition wasn't actually turned on, was it? But never mind. Let me step into the back so you can get an idea of rear space. As always, the driver's seat has been set for me. I'm 6'2", so I am, of course, a taller chap. I would say that, oh, hello, I almost slipped over then. I would say the space in this is similar to that of the Puma ST. Let me just take you off my little tripod so I've got better movement. Knee room is a little bit tight, but I do have a little bit left over. And leg room, let me just close that door. Leg room, I would say, is fair. Headroom isn't too bad either. I would say I've got maybe a little bit more headroom compared to the Puma, but I'd have to sit in both cars back to back to really draw a more accurate conclusion. But from what I can remember and the footage I have from the Puma ST, I would say this maybe has a bit more headroom. Now, given the fact that this is a small SUV, a crossover, I think fitting 3 adults in the rear is going to be rather snug, to say the least. But if you're more concerned about carrying children, it almost goes without saying, really. But you do, of course, have ISOFIX points just there. Now, one thing the Kona N has that the Puma hasn't is a centre armrest with 2 cup holders. So that gives you a bit more practicality in the rear. You also get a USB port, so those in the back can charge their smart devices whilst on the move, and that is another thing that the Puma ST doesn't have. And you've got a little cubby here for, I don't know, maybe some chewing gum or some mints. The door bin is of a fair size. Oh, the door wouldn't open then. How bizarre. The door bin is of a good size. I can fit in that same 750 milliliter bottle I showed you a few moments ago. And as I'm sure I've mentioned, Those in the outer rear seats can get their bums nice and toasty thanks to a heating function. To be fair, in the UK it is summer, so you don't need that right now, but in the colder months I'm sure that would be a blessing. Anything else to report in the rear? Oh yes, you do get map pockets in the back of the front seats. You do get one hook on this side, but you don't get one on that side, which is a little bit strange, but never mind. Let me take you onto the boot. Oh, hello. That's a bit clumsy. Now, I would argue that the opening of the Kona N, the rear, could maybe be a little bit wider, but no real concerns. So as I mentioned, with the Puma ST, you can, as an option, have a power tailgate, whereas with this car, you can't. The boot is also smaller as well. So if practicality is what you're really looking for in your fast crossover / small SUV, you may want to consider the Puma. Now, as always, the boot is filled with my filming crap, but I will cut to a clip where the boot is a little emptier. What you are looking at is 361 litres, which can be extended to 1,143 litres by folding down the 60/40 rear seats. Now, to give you some kind of comparison, the Puma ST, that offers, from memory, 456 litres, and it also has the rather innovative Mega Box, which I know some of you think is a little bit of a gimmick, but I actually think it's quite a clever idea, but that's merely my opinion. If you want to compare this to cars such as the Audi SQ2 or the Volkswagen T-Roc R, I believe the boot is a little bit bigger compared to the Audi, but smaller compared to the Volkswagen. Although I would have thought both those cars would be at a higher price point, particularly the Audi SQ2. Anything else to report in the boot? No, I don't think so. But yes, just to give you one last look at the car. What do you think, guys? Would you rather have this or a Puma ST? Or what do you think looks better, the Puma ST or this? Personally, I think this is the better looking car. Maybe not so much in this colour. It's not a bad colour. I don't know. Just maybe isn't quite as aggressive as I would like. But there would of course be a full review coming, a point of view review, as well as a 0 to 60, a how fast video. So be sure to look out for that. Now, for those of you that think that this car is mine, sadly it isn't. I've only got this for the week, and this has been loaned to me by Hyundai UK. So if you're looking for a kind of ownership experience whereby I speak about how this car's been for a long term, I can't provide it because sadly this is going back to Hyundai tomorrow. But it's not bad news because I'm trading this in for an i20N. So yes, giving this back and getting an i20N in return, which isn't a bad deal if you ask me. So I'll be reviewing that as well. But until then, give you one last look around the car. I know I said that a minute ago. Any questions or queries, please do get in touch, drop it in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can and to the best of my ability. But there we go, guys. The brand new Hyundai Kona N. What a beast. I do hope you have enjoyed this video. If so, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. If you are subscribed, don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. That's quite windy. But until the next time, guys, be sure to keep up the car obsession.